Hey, good afternoon. It's Wednesday. It's Lunchtime Live with me, Dr. Leslie Wakefield. I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist, and I'm doing the live today from our garden, which is on a busy street, so I hope that the noise isn't too much. I will watch the recording later and decide if this is worth doing again next time, but it's really beautiful outside, so I thought I would give it a shot. Everyone I know has been sick, including myself. And a question that's popping up a few times between patients and family friends is leaking because of coughing. If you have any propensity for urinary leakage and you develop a heavy cough, it's likely your pelvic floor is going to fatigue and you're going to have more leaking than normal. I mean, it's possible that you would have leaking when you wouldn't usually have any at all, and that's because when you're coughing, you're generating a lot of intra-abdominal pressure. There's a lot of force as you squeeze the air out, and all of that pressure can also squeeze pee out to the bottom. So what can we do while you're sick to improve some of that leaking? It's really not the time to start a new pelvic floor physical therapy program. You're sick, and definitely that would be a good thing to do down the line. This should be a wake-up call that maybe there is an issue that needs to be addressed, but in this exact moment, you're sick, you're miserable, you're coughing, and you're also just peeing all over yourself. So first thing, which I don't want to lean into, but it would be helpful, is use a pad or a liner, or there's even reusable underwear that for like menstruation or for urinary leaking, and that will help you feel more confident while you're out and about. If it's the middle of the night and your bladder is really full and you let out a really big cough, at least you know you have a layer of protection there. Mental health wise, it's helpful. Let's talk about now how to lessen some of that leaking right now in this moment while you're sick. The first thing you can do is a preemptive kegel. We call it the knack. It's basically a contraction of the pelvic floor right before you cough that's going to help strengthen the pelvic floor enough to resist that downward pressure. So how do you do that? There's a bunch of different cues. If you've been to pelvic floor physical therapy before, you might have heard some of them. If it's totally new to you, give them a try, see which one works, and then please, after you feel better, come see us and we can teach you how to do it. One cue would be like to squeeze your anus. Try and squeeze your booty as hard as you can. That's a pelvic floor contraction. You can also try and lift your vagina. Imagine lifting a blueberry. For some reason, that one works for a lot of people with your vagina. Nodding your clitoris, if that helps you at all. If you sit on a nice firm surface, maybe roll up a washcloth or a hand towel and you put it right under your crotch and you do those contractions, you might get a little bit more of a sense of what's moving there. You can also put your hand over your perineum. You can do that over your underwear or under your underwear. Your perineum is the space between your anus and your vagina. Put your hand there and see if you can feel when you try and do that Kegel contraction, is it tensing? And if it is, then you found the right muscles and you're doing it probably correctly. So that's called a preemptive Kegel or the knack. And when you feel a cough coming on, you can do that pre-contract to help avoid some of the leaking. If you need to make that stronger, if that's not enough, you can also cross your legs. Your pelvic floor works in conjunction with your inner thigh muscles. So by squeezing your legs together, squeezing your knees, that'll actually strengthen your Kegel contraction temporarily, and that's totally fine to do if you're doing it just in that moment to avoid leaking. You can sit down. Sitting will help you get a better contraction, it'll eliminate gravity. You'll be able to control the urine more in a sitting position with your legs crossed with that preemptive contraction than you would if you were just standing or walking. Those are things you can do just right now in this exact moment. Sit down, cross your legs, do a preemptive contraction. If this is something that looks like it's going to be ongoing, you can, if you go to the drugstore, they sell bladder supports. They're now either reusable or disposable. They're basically an over-the-counter pessary, if you're familiar with that term. It's an internal support that you can insert in the vagina, and it will help sort of splint and support the vaginal wall in the bladder so that you can control your urine more easily. If you have a tampon in hand at home, you can give that a try. Sometimes that's enough all by itself just to insert the tampon. They also sell disposable pessaries and reusable pessaries. I'll put in the video, in the recording of this, I will put some links to those products. You can buy them on Amazon, you can buy them at Walgreens. They're very readily available now. You can use them up to 12 hours at a time. So if you know you're sick and you know your kegel isn't strong enough to control your urine and you need a little extra help, you can wear one of those all day, and it will help you control your leaking when you're coughing. And then I would just say, once you feel better, please come see us, come see a pelvic floor physical therapist, because we can help with that. If you're leaking when you're coughing or sneezing, whether it's just right now when you're sick or normally, that's telling us that maybe there is some weakness or some structural issues with the muscles of your pelvic floor. These are the muscles that should be controlling your continence. And if you're seeing that there's a challenge there, you don't have to live with it. That is something we treat all day, every day. I'm in the garden because both of our treatment rooms are busy right now. It's not that uncommon. You are not alone. I know it seems kind of embarrassing to be wetting yourself, either a couple of drops, or even some patients, when they have a really heavy cough, their bladder literally just empties. And of course that seems embarrassing, and it is super personal, but there's no reason to live like that. You can definitely receive treatment. And we would love to see you. So, in a nutshell, temporary solution: sit down, cross your legs, do a preemptive Kegel contraction, and if you have a chance, just sort of feel around and palpate for yourself to see if you're doing it correctly. And phase 2, second step, if you still need a little bit more help, use an internal support that you can get over the counter now, either a tampon, a disposable internal support, or a reusable internal support, and I'll provide links to that in the video description. And then third thing, once you're feeling better, please come see a physical therapist, and we'll teach you how to do those Kegels. We'll do an assessment to find out really what's the root of the problem. Sometimes it's just pure weakness. Sometimes there could be a little bit of a prolapse. Sometimes there could be actually some muscle tightness, so the muscles aren't working as well as they should. And we can help you figure that out and then give you a program to address it. There is no reason to live with leaking. You don't have to. There is treatment available, and we would love to help you with that. So I know this is a super unsexy topic, but super pertinent, because I've been coughing the last 2 weeks and everyone I know is sick. So if you have questions, please post them. If you like it, please like. If you want more, please follow, and I look forward to seeing you next week.